it's Ina the Mood Reader, and today we are going to talk about my reading plans for March. So this month I decided to make things a little more interesting. I always read more if I tend to go with a theme, and I was made aware of two readathons, I guess, or casual readathons for March, which I'll be participating in, and it's middle grade March as well as the women's readathon. I don't know who created the middle grade March. I'll be linking their site down below, and also I'll put it here somewhere. And also women's readathon is hosted by Polly from What Polly Reads, and basically those challenges or readathons only give out simple instructions, which is to read middle grade books and read books written by female authors. And to make it easier, I chose some middle grade books written by female authors that I plan to read this March. I also included, of course, young adult books, and I also have some adult books as well, just to balance it all out. So I'll go ahead right now and talk to you about the books that I will be reading for March 2021. So first, let's go with the other books I'll be reading for March, and the first is both of these books. I have two books here, the second and third book of the I Love You Since 1892 series, because there is an ongoing read along for this series hosted by Moon from Moonlight Scrolls, and the book 2 was meant to be the February pick, but I don't know, February came by so fast and I wasn't able to pick this up as much as I wanted to, so I'll just be reading this one before I jump into the third book, which I will be doing a live show with Moon sometime this March. Just wait, I guess, for our announcements on when exactly it will be, but we'll be doing a discussion on the third book, so I really have to finish this one so that I could jump in to the third book. By the way, these are written in Filipino, and I did a reading review, I guess, for the first book that I will also link in the description down below. Next is this trilogy that people have been talking about, especially since teasers and trailers have been appearing all over the internet, and it's the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I think the way Netflix did it for the adaptation is characters from Shadow and Bone and characters from Six of Crows are being simultaneously told to readers, and many people are suggesting to go with Six of Crows because it's the better written book, and many people did not like Shadow and Bone because of the romance. But I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to read, of course, this series alongside Six of Crows, just so that I'll get the bigger picture, I'll understand everything. And I don't know, I just wanted to read this one first for some reason. Yeah. So for March, I'm planning to read, of course, Shadow and Bone, and if depending on my feel for the story, if I do enjoy it, if I do like it, then I will go ahead and finish the trilogy within March. But if I don't, then I feel like it's overwhelming for me, then I'll just go month after month after month. Yeah, maybe I would actually get to understand and enjoy it more once I get to watch the adaptation. I don't know, but I'm starting this trilogy this March. Now, I also have a duology written by a female author, and it's Want and Ruse. I think it's a duology, and this is by Cindy Pont. This is a science fiction book set in futuristic Taipei, Taiwan, and I'm afraid I don't know much about this book, but many people have been raving about it, and I decided to add it to my March reading list. I know I was supposed to buddy read this with someone, so I'll try to find them and contact them if they're still up for it, so that we can read it. So yeah, those basically are the books that I'll be reading. I would also try to read the 4th, 5th, and 6th book in the Bridgerton series, because as I noticed, I only get to finish like 1 book per month in the Bridgerton series. I'm at the 4th one. I'm about 20% in to Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, but I wasn't able to finish it in February, so I'm jumping in and continuing it on to March. Yeah, so as you can see, all of these books are written by female authors. I have an exception for March, and because this is a middle grade book that I recently bought, it's by Andrew Clements, and it's The School Story, and I'm going to do a video about it because this is my favorite book when I was in middle grade, and I really loved this one. I remember how much I loved it. I don't remember much about the story though, which is why I'll be doing a reading vlog for a book I've read and loved almost 2 decades after, because this was published in 2001. So this would be my first middle grade book for middle grade March, and today I'll be talking to you as well about 10 other middle grade books I'm hoping to finish this March. I know this is quite a high ambitious number, but since I'm a mood reader, I decided to write 10 titles just so I could decide which books I would have a feel for the rest of the month, and let's hope that I'll at least get to read half of it. By the way, to make reading these books easier, since I don't have physical copies of each of them, I'll be listening to them via Scribd, and you know how much I am an advocate for using Scribd for audiobooks. I think it's the cheapest way that you can enjoy, for me personally, 8 to 10 titles a month. And these are the books I want to listen to that you can get on Scribd. The first is Brother's Keeper by Julie Lee. I've actually started listening to it this morning since it's the 1st of March already. And this book is about, this is actually a historical middle grade fiction book which is set in North Korea while they are at war. I think this is set in the Second World War, and it talks about a family who is in North Korea and is planning to escape to South Korea, hopefully to Busan, so that they can be free from the communist. At that point in time, I think North Korea was also controlled by Japan, then by Russia. I'm not sure, but it's about this young girl and her desire to escape from North Korea at this point in history. So yeah, the next middle grade book I want to read is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga, and it's a story of a young girl who lives in Syria who has to move to the United States to get an education. And of course, as a kid, it's a struggle for her to find her identity in a foreign country, and also the sense of belongingness in wherever you are at the moment. Thus, Other Words for Home. Next is a book by a middle grade author I've read before, and it's Lalani of the Distant Sea by Erin Entrada Kelly. This book was originally part as well of my Weekathon TBR, but for that readathon, I was able to read Hello Universe and You Go First by this author. And Lalani of the Distant Sea is, I think, about it's a fantasy book that touches on Filipino mythology, wherein a girl has to cross the sea for a certain quest. I'm really not sure, but this book was like brought back to my radar again when this random reviewer on Goodreads mentioned how Lalani of the Distant Sea is a copy of Moana, which is quite unfair, and based on other Filipino bookish people who have read this book already, they say that they have nothing in common aside from the sea and the fact that they are island girls. So I want to read this book as well so that I can understand what they are talking about, and I know that this would be an amazing book because I really love Erin Entrada Kelly's writing style. So yeah, next we have Blended by Sharon M. Draper, and this book is about a young girl whose father is black and mother is white. So she doesn't know where she belongs to in terms of like ethnicity, and then her parents also had a divorce, which kind of make her feel like she is a toy that is being passed around since her parents are not getting along well. So that this story revolves around cultural aspects as well as some family drama. So yeah, the next book I'm interested in is The Prettiest by Bridget Young, and according to the blurb on this book, it's a perfect read for young feminists because it talks about the objectification of women even as young as these girls in the book are. So it's interesting to see how the author tackled this one in a way that young people would understand. So I've decided to pick this up for March. The next book I'm interested in reading is Once Upon an Eid. It's about it features 15 Muslim stories, so it's, I think, an anthology, and I know I've said it quite a few times already in my book reviews here in BookTube, but I'm always very passionate about seeing Muslim representation in books, because having close family that are Muslim and seeing the prejudice that they experience when people find out that they are Muslim, even here in the Philippines, is a very disappointing thing, and it makes me and reading books about Muslims makes me understand them more, and at the same time see other stories that deserve to be represented and shouted about on mainstream media. So yeah, next I also want to read Click by Kayla Miller. This one is a different style of reading for me. Personally, it's a graphic novel, and I don't usually get to read graphic novels, and this one is a perfect for me as well because it's a middle grade story, so it's going to be light and fluffy. It's about friendship and just, you know, when you click with the right people. So yeah, I'm excited to read this one. I think the author also has 2 other graphic novels on Scribd, and since graphic novels are pretty easy to read, if I breeze through this, I would also be grabbing the other ones. I think the other one is Camp, and I forgot the title of the other one. Next, I also have Front Desk by Kelly Yang, and this book I have been seeing this around bookish Twitter, and I think this book is about a girl who lives in a motel owned by her immigrant parents, and at the hotel her parents also care for and try to protect illegal immigrants. So this would be like an interesting read, as it touches on, of course, the themes of like immigration and what it's like being a person of color in the United States, and especially how it is seen at the eyes of a young girl. If ever I get the chance to have extra time to read, I would also like to jump in and read With Dream of Space. I think that's the title of another Erin Entrada Kelly book. And I also would like to read My Fate According to the Butterfly by Gail D. Villanueva, who is another Filipino author. But those books I don't have copies of yet, and I'll try to find copies so that I could read them. But if I'm unable to have copies right now, I'll try to just add them to my Wikathon TBR, which comes in August. So yeah, those are the books that I plan to read this March. Please let me know which titles do you think have the potential to be 5-star reads, and if you have middle grade recommendations, especially those written by female authors, and especially those tackling realistic issues, social issues. You know, I'm not like the best person to recommend fantasy to, so yeah, just please keep the recommendations coming. I would really appreciate that, especially if the titles are easily found on Scribd so I can listen to the audiobooks. Thank you so much for watching this video, and may all of our March reads have the potential to be 5-star reads. I hope you enjoy your reading journey, and please feel free to reach out to me and share your thoughts on your reading and my reading here in the comments, and on Instagram at ynathemoodreader, or on Twitter at ynamoodreads. Thank you so much again for watching. See you on the next videos. Bye!